Now, one of the big things that we're going to be doing is are regressions, finding equation for a regression line or whatever it happens to be. Just in case you didn't miss my first video, the first thing I want you to do is make sure, and I want you to touch mode, and you come down here under operational modes. Make sure that the diagnostics, statistical diagnostics, that's now off. Make sure that it's turned on. You're going to need that. And then I'm done, and that brings me back to what we call, this is the home screen right there. So the first thing I'm going to do statistics. So that I'm going to use this from our, this is from page 2 of our packet. And I'm going to enter my data. So I'm going to do stat. And it says, what do you want to do? Do you want to edit, sort, ascending, sort, descending? The nice thing what this does is it tells you essentially what you're going to be doing. And clear what we have when we put in the data. These data go into something called lists. That's why they're labeled L1, L2, L3, etc. These are lists. And then setup editor, and if it's you by accident, you delete one of your columns. So I'm going to do edit. And notice it set up something similar to a spreadsheet. So that yellow bar tells me where I am. -10. And then I press enter, and it puts it down in columns. -5, enter, 0, enter, 3, enter, 8, enter. And now I'm going to come back up to the top and over. 0, enter, 2, enter, 4, enter, 9, enter, 16, enter. I always cross-check to make sure that the last 2 columns line up at the bottom. Otherwise, you're going to get an error message. The next thing I do is I make sure that I have input the right numbers. 0, 2, 4, 9, and 16. So I'm fine. So now what I want to do is I want to do a calculation. My data is in there. I'm going to do a linear regression. I'm going to do stat. And it says, now what do you want to do? Well, I wanted to edit before. Now I want to do a calculation. Now all of this stuff right here is statistics. But I want to come down here to number 5. I want to do a regression. Now here's what it says I have to do. I have to tell it where the X's are and where the Y's are. If I come back to edit, I know this, my X's are in L1, my Y's are in L2. And then where do you find the L's? You find them on the yellow. Probably can't see that very well. That's 1 and 2 in the yellow. So I'm going to go back to stat, calculate, linear regression. Now where is everybody? Well, my X's are in L1, so I'll do second, the number 1, that gives me L1. The comma is right here. We're going to use commas periodically too. And then the Y's are in L2. And now it's going to be able to do the linear regression, find the equation of the line that best fits that data. And then I basically then say, I'm done, go do it. Now, what it's come up with is A is the slope, B is the y-intercept. R and R squared is called the correlation coefficient. It basically says, how well does this data fit the actual problem? Well, R squared is the square, the correlation coefficient. I'm interested in R. R is 0.94768. 0.9 and above, it could be either positive or negative, tells me it is a okay fit. The more nines in R, the better the fit. The more nines in R, the better the fit. So that if I were to, and I'm going to go ahead and do a plot. So what I don't want you to do is worry about that. I'll do a second video on this thing. So second step plot. This is on. And then there's something else I needed to do. And need to go back to home again. Let's go to, whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. Second quit actually takes me back to the home screen. And I need to write down what I got. So it's y equals point, I'm going to take it down, 0.8716x plus 6.8973. I took it to 4 places because the more places, the better the graph's going to look. So under the y equal, I'm going to put that guy. So I need to clear him out. And see, 0.8716 x, that's the x that I use for graphing, plus 6.8973. Okay, now I can, when I hit graph, it'll graph both the data. And you can't see that. And you're going to say, well, why can't you see that? My background right now is black. And all of these guys are and the data is here. So I can actually graph the data in the two, and I need to change this background. But this would be the line that would best fit that data. So we're not going to worry about that at the moment. Okay. So, but all you need to know is everything but the graph. So just ignore the graph that I did. Okay. So if I wanted to do another stat problem, here's the beauty of this calculator. Again, I can go in and say stat, edit, and you're going to say, well, there's already stuff in there. So I'm just going to go in and type over top this first set of data that we did. We said that was linear. So that was negative 20, enter, negative 10, enter, 0, enter, 10, enter, and 20. Nice thing is it was in tens. And negative, and you use this for negative numbers, that's for subtraction. Negative 40, 0, 40, 80, 120. Now they line up. Looks like I've typed my data incorrectly. Now, if I wanted to do this over again, I could say stat, calculate, linear regression. It's going to ask me again, where are your guys? They're in second L1, it's above the 1, comma, second L2, parenthesis. And now it's good to go. So if I press enter, you notice that the correlation coefficient is 1. That says I have a perfect fit. Now, if I didn't want to retype all of that, remember, this guy has a stack. So if I wanted to redo the one that I just did, that's that guy, I now press enter. Oops. See if I can get him to go up. There we go. I had to go up a little bit and then come down. That's essentially what that is. I've got that selected now. I press enter, brings it back down, and I didn't have to type it at all. I press enter, and then it will give me what I want. So essentially, this guy now has been done twice. It says it's got a slope of 4, y-intercept of 40, and it is a perfect fit. So that's linear regressions on your graph and calc TI.